MacVoices Holiday Gift Guide number 4, part 2. This is MacVoices. Today's MacVoices is supported by MacVoices After Dark. Uncensored, off-topic, and always off the wall. MacVoices After Dark is available as a benefit to our Patreon subscribers. Sign up at patreon.com/MacVoices. Welcome to MacVoices. This is the talk of the Apple community, and I'm Chuck Joyner. Folks, this is the second part of our 4th holiday gift guide. Let's go right back and let the panel do the picking. All right, gentlemen, we're halfway through. So now if you have multiple items left on your list, you have to start thinking about which ones. And we haven't had any steals yet, as a matter of fact. So we'll see what happens here. Peter, are you going to give us something? You're going to steal from somebody else for round 3?
Well, I guess we'll see. So I know that I guess has already picked something from this company, but I am interested in a different product from them. Specifically, I am talking about the Action Band for the Apple Watch from 12 South, which is the coolest workout band that I have seen for the Apple Watch in quite some time. It's a flexible terry cloth band. So, you know, it feels like just a regular sports band on your wrist, but it's got this really cool frame that accommodates the Apple Watch. I'm somebody who exercises pretty regularly in my Apple Watch. I go for runs, and I don't like the sensation of sweating through my watch band when I run. So this combines my favorite things. It's compatible right now with the Apple Watch Series 4, 5, 6, and SE. But they are working on a new revision that's going to have Series 7 compatibility. So if you're stuck with one of the, cruddy old legacy watches, I say that I've got a Series 3 I'm showing right here, but then you're in luck. But wait for the 7 to come out soon. And it's at $30. It's not the most ridiculous vanity money that you can spend on an Apple watch band that actually has some functional value if you're somebody who is more of a sporty spice.
Good pick.
I just got one of those. I was tempted to put it on my list, but I didn't. So good thing I didn't.
So you sort of stole one, Peter.
Kind of. Okay.
Kind of. Good, nice pick. Yeah, 12th South makes some really great stuff. No question. They sure always end up on the gift guide list every year. All right, Jim. So Peter sort of stole from you. What do you got that maybe you can sort of steal from Wally or me?
Well, I kind of feel bad about doing another book, but I'm going to because I think it's a good one for this year, which the other one was too. But this one you can buy now, and it's the Foundation series by Isaac Asimov. So obviously a lot of people are watching that and getting excited about that. But the original books are classics. And in fact, personally, I have watched the first 3 of the Foundation series, and then I was like, I'm going to go back and reread the books. And I got completely diverted and stopped watching the TV show. And I've read the first 5 of the books. And I'm not even sure how many. I think there's 7 by Asimov, and then his son or something wrote some more, which at some point in the past I have read, and I may go back and reread those. But they are, even though they're written a long time ago, and it does show in some, they don't feel like they were written, but they're still really, really good and quite different from the show. They're not really much in the way of spoilers be from one to the other. It's sort of like there's characters with the same names, but they're, have different genders and different. They're different in a lot of ways. And it was really interesting to me. It's been a while since I've read, especially the original trilogy. I probably read a dozen times over 40, 45 years, but it'd been a while since I read it. And it's interesting now to look back and I guess he wrote the first one when he was still a teenager, I think. So it's kind of, oh, wow. That's interesting that this was written by somebody that young. So I would recommend them. They're good reading. They're not too, by today's standards, they're thin books. They're not a lot of pages. And then if you find yourself wanting some more Asimov, I think his best book ever is The Caves of Steel, which is one of the robot books. And interestingly, if you go through and read all the stuff, eventually he ties together The Caves of Steel, which is something that supposedly took place like 12,000 or 20,000 years before Foundation. But he ties it together as one line of history. And there's actually a character that turns out to be still around 20,000 years later. You won't find that in the trilogy, but if you read some of the extra books, they're all tied together.
Asimov was amazingly prolific, and
yes,
but prolific in a good positive way. Because I've read a lot of Asimov over the years, and I never found like, gee, he just mailed this one in. It always felt like there was a real purpose to the book, or a really good story to tell. I don't know how many of you have read that much Asimov, but
I've probably read at least 40 of his books, but I've been looking through Amazon and I'm like, wait a minute, I haven't read that one. And you see in the reviews, there are people like, wait, how did I miss this? So, I think he wrote like 200 books. So
yeah,
I've probably only read, a quarter of them or something.
Yeah. Really good pick. Timely pick.
That's what I thought. I was like, I didn't want to pick another book, but I was like, man, this is just perfect for 2021.
Whether it's Asimov or another author, or that you're really interested in, or even a video series, I think it's always exciting when you discover something that you haven't seen before. Oh, I haven't read this one before. And all of a sudden you're excited and you want to take it right away and dive right into it. So that must be fun.
Good pick, Jim. Really good pick. Okay, Wally, are you going to spend my money?
I think I'm down to stocking stuffers, Chuck. So I think you're going to escape unscathed, maybe. So this is something that I use every day, and every day it makes me smile. And it's one of these. It's a charging stand for your Apple Watch, and it's from Elago. Now, this particular one is modeled after the Bondi Blue iMac. You can also get one that looks like an original 128K Mac, and there's even one that looks like one of the old click wheel iPods. Pretty neat. So all you do, Peter and Jim can take their fancy watch bands and fitness watches and just insert your watch into here, turn it on. Well, I guess I better turn on my watch, and there you go. The watch face peeks out through what the display would have been on your Apple Watch on your original iMac. So it's very clever, and you can find all of those different models as well as other things. If you're into Game Boys or other things that I don't use, you can find those too. And they are also on the Jeff Bezos store, and there are lots of versions, and they're about $15 or less. So an easy investment to make, and I guarantee it'll put a smile on your face every day too.
There's a fair amount of nostalgia going on in this show. I think it's interesting that's become a trend here all of a sudden.
Well, nostalgia ain't what it used to be.
Gray beard's here, so it makes sense.
Speak for yourself, Peter. All right, so my this is third round pick. Jeez, I'm losing my mind. My third round pick is probably the smallest pick I'll have for the gift guide, and is one of these. This is a Catalyst AirTag holder. These are a little bit more expensive than a lot of the AirTag holders, but they are going to stand up to a lot more abuse than the typical AirTag holder. There are 3 different versions of them. One, like this, comes with a carabiner that you can clip on. There's one that actually comes with a clip that is obviously a lot smaller than this, but sort of the same idea, so that it clips on. So you could clip it on your coat and it would, not come off. And there's also one that comes with a stick-on back, so that you could stick it on something, and the sticky part really does stick. Got a little film to protect that gorgeous little AirTag. And they don't make any claims over, like how much weight you could put on this or whatever. And obviously, if you had something that punched down through the center, well, that's going to be a problem. But if you had something that was just laying on top of it, this is going to protect your AirTag in a lot of ways, as well as easily attach it to things. Now, again, a little more expensive than some, but you invested in the AirTags and you don't want them coming off. You don't want them popping out, any of those things. They're not going to with this. You put your AirTag in here, it's going to stay right there. So I found this to be probably my favorite AirTag case. At first I was buying some of the cheap ones, and then had a couple incidents where they fell apart or whatever, and I almost lost the AirTag. And so that's when I decided I'm going to invest a little more money and make sure my AirTags are secure. So the Catalyst AirTag holder is well worth a look if you are in that same boat.
So Chuck, how many AirTags do you actually have?
Right now I have 6. I bought 2 packs of 3.
Okay, and what have you attached them to, or what devices do you keep track of with them?
Sounds a little strange, Wally, but I have one in my car. Right. I have one in my backpack. I have one on my keys. I have one. Let's see. Where's the other one? Oh, great! Now you got me thinking, because
there's an app that'll help you figure that out.
Yeah, thank you, Peter. Yeah, but I've got at least one in reserve right now. But I find that once you get used to having some of those things. Oh, what am I talking about? My suitcase, in anticipation of when and if I ever get to travel again. I dropped one in there automatically, just because I feel like there's a better chance of Apple's system finding my lost luggage than the airlines will. So, and of course, with the network that Apple has through the iPhones and all, it's going to blanket an airport of all places. That I've got a much better chance at recovering that bag. So that's, in fact, I have one in each of my bags, both my carry-on and my check bag. Those are the other 2 I couldn't think of. But yeah, they're inexpensive enough, and I sort of think of it as just a little extra insurance, that maybe I can get it back.
How often you've actually had to use one because you have either misplaced something or couldn't remember where it was?
I can't say that I've really had to use it, but I also,
it's there
if I need it. And, I've learned that, like, my backpack, I'm always concerned about, sitting that down and walking off without it somewhere. So, that's, I like the idea that I get the little alerts, that your backpack is missing. It was last seen here. It's like, oh yeah. Okay, great. And so that's something that, as we're starting to think about CES, I will put one in my CES bag, because I have been known to leave a bag in a vendor's booth and then go charging back, 3 minutes later, 5 minutes later, and it's always still been there. But, it's only because I thought of it, not because something reminded me. Now, in a minute or two, I'll be reminded that, hey, you left it and you didn't mean to. So, I don't know, any other AirTag fans here?
I have not.
I haven't gotten one
picked
yet.
any up yet, to be honest with you, because my main reason for using one right now is sort of like yours. It would be locate things that I would not have ready access to, like luggage, or something like whatever it might be. I don't need it right now, and that's the thing about AirTags, right? Is that if you've developed systems for dealing with whatever it is you're losing, then AirTags have diminished use for you, or at least the perception of diminished use. Now, here's the funny thing. I had the same conversation with a friend of mine not 4 or 5 weeks ago, and he's like, yeah, and then I picked a couple up, and then I just ordered another pack of them. It's like he got them, and then he started finding reasons to use them. And that's, to be honest with you, Chuck, makes me a little uneasy. I don't need another gateway drug for Apple products.
How many have you gone through, Peter?
Well, that's just it. I haven't started yet, but I can see, my friends, rubbing their arms and, getting the weird lips, all cracked up and damaged from their drug addiction to AirTags. So I don't want to feed the Jones. I don't want to start down that. Then all of a sudden it's AirTags everywhere, putting AirTags on the cat, putting AirTags on my underwear. It's just going to get crazy, Chuck. I don't want that level of AirTaggedness in my life.
I think you're right.
I was thinking the cat might be the first place I wanted to put an AirTag.
No, that's a GoPro. I want to put a camera on the cat.
I think you're right, Chuck. When and if we start to travel again, that would be a good application for AirTags. And I have a couple, and I confess that I haven't really taken advantage of them, but travel was one of the reasons that I thought they would be useful. Another application that I know about, and it has been effective for some people that I do know, is putting one with your bicycle. Now, I know if you have a really nice bicycle, sometimes they're too tempting for people to leave alone, and they'll walk away with them. So I know people who've attached an AirTag to their bicycle, sort of hidden it in a little bag, and it's come in handy because they've been able to find their bicycle again.
Yeah, Peter, use this to put the GoPro on the cat. The cat won't mind at all.
Yeah, that's true.
Just attach it to its tail; it won't mind at all.
I'm going to get emails for that one. Sorry. Oh God.
Chuck, it looks to me like this Catalyst case costs more than AirTags.
Yes, they do.
Wow.
They do. But again,
you need to buy an extra AirTag to keep track of the case.
Well, I guess the thing is, this is not like for my car. I don't have one of these in my car because I don't really need it. It's it's in a compartment that is not going to be damaged or subject to abuse. But for some other, from some other places, notably my backpack, where I'm throwing things in and out all the time, I don't want the AirTag to get crunched up or anywhere else. And the package, shows you that you can, put these on a lot of different things. And if you were to put one on a dog or a cat, I know one of our friends tried to put one on his dog, and his dog chewed it up. So his dog's going to have a hard time getting through this. Believe me, they'll probably pay more in dental work for the dog than you would for the AirTag.
It's like an OtterBox for an AirTag.
Yes, good example, Peter. Really good example. Yeah. This edition of Mac Voices is supported by our Patreon subscribers and Mac Voices After Dark. Ever wonder what happens before the Mac Voices live shows, or what happens when the show ends, or after the live feed closes? That's where Mac Voices After Dark comes in. If you are a Patreon supporter at any level, you get access to the video of our off-camera conversations. Uncensored, unedited, and always off the wall. It's a small thank you to our Patreon supporters who want to peek behind the curtain. Become a Patreon subscriber at patreon.com/MacVoices. And thanks to everyone who supports the show. So that takes us to round 4, gentlemen. So this is the last best pick, or at least your last pick of this year's gift guide. So Peter, how are you going to wrap up this year?
Well, this one, I've talked about a couple of esoteric things. This thing I think is probably a little bit more useful generally, but even so, it's a little weird. My last pick is the Sabrent 7-port USB charger. So, you could buy a hub from anybody, but, if you're in a household with other people, whether it's kids or, other adult family members or roommates or whatever, chances are you have a lot of stuff that is USB powered that needs to be charged. And I'm not even talking about the stuff that you connect to your computer, but if you buy anything from Amazon or any other online retailer these days, chances are you're going to get a product in the box, and if it's got a battery inside of it and that battery needs to be charged, it's got to come with a USB plug, just a plain old simple USB-A plug that you're going to charge into a wall wart someplace in order to get power to it. And a lot of companies are taking Apple's lead, and they're not including their wall warts in the package anymore. So I'm seeing a lot of stuff show up these days that has a cable, but no way to charge it. And, like a lot of folks, I've got endless amounts of power strips that I can plug these ugly little USB chargers into to plug my cables into to charge. So Sabrent decided to short circuit the process altogether, and you can actually pick up a 7, 10, or even 16, I think, port USB charger that just provides power. It's not tethered to a computer anywhere. It's not carrying data. This is something just to charge your USB devices. And it's great because you could charge a whole bunch of them at once. So, I mean, I don't think that a lot of people, consumers, regular folks need like the 10 or 16 port jobbers, unless you need to do like charge everything up at a time. But, it's nice to have. So, you can charge your phone. Other people could charge their iPads or their phones or their other devices, whether it's an electric razor or, the cat's water fountain or something. But each of the individual ports is powered, so you don't have to worry about phantom power or overcharging your devices. You can actually tap a button and cut the power to it altogether. And there's even a little blue LED right on the strip to show you which ones are charging and which ones aren't. Because sometimes you'll have a device and you might not know if the cable is okay or if it's charging at all. And it's like, okay, I see a blue light there. I guess it's getting charged or it's getting power to the port. Oh, time to put this in the recycling bin, whatever. Kind of handy.
I'm just looking at this. This is great. And the only thing I might disagree with you on the 7 versus 10. I think I'd almost rather go for the 10 because now it's not a matter of just your iPhone, your iPad, your Apple Watch or whatever. Now, like you said, everything comes with a USB charger of some kind. And because I think my electric razor does. You can't, I'm constantly plugging things in to charge them. And the idea of having a place maybe that I could set up and put this on a table and then have just, cables sticking out from it to charge all those devices and not have to jump through those hoops. This is really nice.
Yeah, it reduces the clutter and those wall warts that you're plugging into. I mean, they get warm. That's ultimately, it can be a fire hazard depending on your setup. So you've got to be careful with that. They wear out. They short circuit. This kind of cuts out all the middlemen. You've got the cable sticking out. You plug your stuff in. You charge. You're off. And then when you're not using it, or if you're worried about overcharging, you just tap and turn off each of the individual ports. So, kind of handy.
Yeah, absolutely. And I'm looking at the 10 port right now for $60. So that's less than $10 a port. I mean, that is not bad at all. That is not bad at all. Good, great pick. Great pick. Yep. Okay, that goes on that's on my wish list now. Thank you. Oh boy. What'd you say? Ask Wally how's my credit card is melting down. It just got just a little warmer.
Well, look, this is harder on you, Chuck, because you're the host of every one of these programs.
Yeah.
The thing
that means he's also got to come up with more picks himself too.
Yeah,
It's true.
Yeah, it's a double-edged
I don't want to
sword.
make this my pick, but one thing I had as a possible thing on my pick is a 5-port USB charger for your car. So I have one of those, and it's great. So I can plug in my phone, my wife's phone. I've got a 12 South Bluetooth adapter. I've got a watch cable, so if I'm going for a long drive, I'll plug in my watch, and then I've got a car dock, a phone dock that's like Qi-Charge. It's great. It's like I kept like, I don't have enough cables, and I looked it up, and it's like, look at that, I can get a 5-port, and I don't know. It's. I looked it up. I don't know what brand it is. FEEU, but 45 watts, 5 ports. Works great. So along the same lines.
I didn't even know they made something with that many ports, Jim.
I didn't either. And I just, I kept being frustrated, and I thought, let's look on the Bezos store. They, maybe there's something there. Oh, look at that. It is there. So
Okay.
it's great.
Yeah.
My real pick that I wanted to pick, I've got a bunch left on my list, but I think I'm going to go for like the opposite of a stocking stuffer, because this is like $500. But really, I'm gonna suggest that this is like for, this would be a great gift for like parents or grandparents, where it's not so much the item, but then you're gonna do something with the item, which is basically how many, like your parents or something like that, they've got a box full of photographs from the years, and nobody looks at, and wouldn't it be great, if those got digitized and could be preserved and all that. So the item that you can purchase is an Epson Fast Photo FF680W photo and document scanner. And it looks a lot like the Fujitsu document scanners that have been around for a long time. But in addition to doing documents, which it actually does work for that, I use mine for document scanning also, and it works basically just the same as the Fujitsu. But it's designed to be safe and to work with photographs. So you can take a stack of, photographs and stick it in, and it'll like, voot, 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 voot. And so, I mean, it's still a project, but compared to like trying to do it on a flatbed, it could turn it into something that, actually might be completed in someone's lifetime. So basically, I'm suggesting this might be like if you wanted to give the gift of here's all your memories of your life digitized. So, this would be someone that was really special, like either your own family or, something like, either your immediate family or your parents or an aunt or uncle or something like that.
Good.
Well,
nice.
Yeah, and in some ways, Jim, that is really a family gift. It may be for your parent or grandparent, but if the family kind of pitches in and they pool all their visual resources and then take turns digitizing and collecting, etc., you end up with something very special, which is kind of a family history, and it's all available for every family member now and in the future. So it's a wonderful idea.
What could be more Christmas than that?
Yeah.
All right. Santa Jim has pronounced, what could be more Christmas than a scanner printer?
No printing, just scanning.
Just scanning. Okay, just scanning.
It doesn't do printing.
All right. Okay, well, great. That's I didn't see that one coming. And I'm not even familiar with that, but I'm gonna have to go and look that one up. Wally, round 4. How you gonna wrap up this year?
Well, I'm not going to spend $500 on this one. Actually, this is quite inexpensive, and it's put it back in the realm of stocking stuffers. Here's the use case. I'm one of those people who I can't seem to keep my AirPods in place. Even if I try different sizes of ear tips, doesn't matter. If I'm in a chair or at my desk, it's okay. But as soon as I get up and move around, it's just a matter of time. One of the AirPods is going to fall out. And extrapolate, if you're outdoors or you're walking or something like that, it's an easy way to lose one. So one solution I found is something like this. It's a flexible set of ear hooks that attaches to your AirPods, and then they just clip over your ears. They're comfortable to wear, and they really do keep my AirPods attached. There's another kind that you can get that's like a flexible little cord that you attach an AirPod to each end. So again, a little bit of safety there. There is a downside with either one of these things, and that is you'll have to remove your AirPod from the device or you'll never put it into the charging case. But in some way, that's a small price to pay. But if you can get a little bit of security wearing them, not a problem. Just go to the Jeff Bezos store, spend $10 or so. There's lots of choices there, different colors, different brands, different makers, but they're all very useful. And give those to your spouse or your kids or anybody that's got a set of earpods, and they may appreciate them.
I like it, Wally. I like it. Yes, it takes a little getting used to, I think, to any set of in-ear headphones or earpieces or whatever. And sometimes you just never can find that right tip. And so, yeah, I've used things like this in the past with other brands. Happily, the AirPods Pro do really well for me, but not for everybody. So, good practical pick.
You know, I had that problem, and I found a product, a different one. It was more like it didn't connect them or anything, but it did work to keep it from falling out of my ear. But I found that the thing that you had to take it off and put it on was just a complete deal breaker. It just destroyed the whole advantage of the AirPods, which is that you could just whip it out. And now it's like, oh nope! Before I can listen to anything, I've got to sit here and fiddle for a minute on each one, and then taking them off was a little easier. But you know, it's like no, and I basically just stopped using the AirPods because it was a deal breaker. And without that, I did lose. You know, I had one. Fortunately, it fell under a car. I was getting out of a car, and I was lucky, you know, that I was able to find it. But
yeah, Peter, what were you?
Just a few moments ago, I was showing my Powerbeats Pro earbud, which I very specifically bought because they have the loop integrated. Now, the downside of that is that Beats provides a charger for it that is ridiculously big. I mean, this thing is just stupid large. And you know, it's like there we go. You know, it's like a jewelry case, for crying out loud. But it's got enough power to keep them going for days. And it uses Lightning just like everything else in Apple's retinue. So or just like most things in Apple's retinue. So you know, it charges easily. No wireless charging though. But you know, for me anyway, and I got them at a time where I had lost my AirPods probably half a dozen times because they fell out of my ear every time I would lean over or bend down or tilt my head in a certain way. Yeah, I mean, those loops are perfect, but loops just in general are a godsend for people with strange ear canals that just don't fit the AirPods right. And there are a lot of us out there that need something, to push some counter pressure, I guess, to get that good, comfortable seal when we're using earbuds. So, hey, whatever it takes.
Yeah, I know what you mean, Peter, because before I got AirPods, well, the earpods just never would fit me. I always had to have something extra to, and of course, then it wasn't an issue because you didn't charge those. But
duct tape around the head or,
Yeah, exactly. But you remember, when we used to have Bluetooth earpieces for our phones, again, before AirPods, I tried, I don't know how many of those that just, stick in your ear and they're going to stay there. No, they don't. I always had to get a hook. So, whether, that was the charging experience of those was also annoying because you had to use a USB micro plug. You didn't just sit them in anything. You had to actually plug them in. So, yeah. So, depends on the use case and the person.
Yeah, one of the reasons I was attracted to them, usually I wear the AirPods indoors and it's watching TV or at the computer or something like that. So I don't go very far, and if they do fall out, it's not a big deal. But when I go out on a bike ride or running or jogging or walking or something like that, I will never wear them. But I thought of, again, back to the travel word that we all hope is going to appear in our existence sometime soon. I thought this is the kind of thing that would really work on an airplane. I would take my AirPods, but I wouldn't wear them without one of these hooks. So it isn't that much of an inconvenience to remove it and put it in the case afterwards, because I'm not going to fly in an airplane every day. But for those occasional times when I would fly somewhere, that's the kind of thing I'd want with me.
Yeah. That's a real good point, especially if you're one that the AirPods drop out of your ears. The last thing you want to do is be trying to crawl around the floor of an airplane to find them. So
no.
Yeah, for lots of reasons.
Yes.
Well, Wally, I'm going to riff on your one of your picks for my final pick. I'm going to suggest that if you need a lot of mass bulk storage, reasonably fast mass bulk storage, that you get a Western Digital 14 terabyte Elements desktop hard drive.
14 terabytes.
14 terabytes. Yes, 14. This can be yours for $259.99. So
really?
Yeah. So yeah. You thought I was going to go crazy, but yeah,
$259 for 14 terabytes.
For 14 terabytes.
Tell me more.
So it's USB 3. So it plugs in. That makes it relatively fast. I mean, not Thunderbolt fast, but it's certainly fast enough. And you're really buying this for the storage capacity.
Yeah.
And it's Western Digital, so it's a great name. And I just, I've got a couple of them. And if there's a bad news to them, the bad news is that if you're putting stuff on a 14 terabyte drive, you need another 14 terabyte drive to back it up.
That's exactly what I was going to say. You need to buy two of them, but at least for $259, you can buy two of them.
Exactly. And they come in, obviously, your lower capacities, but, if you go big or go home.
Yeah.
So, but I've used these. I've had no problems with them. There was a time, and you can look on YouTube, and if you shuck the drive out of this, then you can put it into maybe a NAS device. There was a time that you knew kind of you could do some research and find out what drives are inside, and it was a good way to pick up some inexpensive drives. But now they've gone to white labeling things, so you're never quite sure whether that drive could be used in the NAS you have or not. So that's there's something that you might want to consider if you're feeling adventurous, and if not, don't. Just plug it in, use it as a regular drive. You will You will love it. So
How
yeah,
much
14
noise does it
terabytes.
make?
Sorry, Peter?
How much noise does it make?
Very quiet. Very quiet. I mean, I'm not going to lie to you. Can I hear it? Yes, but you're not going to say, "Oh my God!" I would not hesitate to have it sitting here while we're doing this call.
So I know 14 terabytes sounds like a lot, and it is a lot. But about a month ago, I was on an assignment and have been editing in Final Cut Pro since. And I think all of the media files, plus my editing files, plus everything else associated with that project right now is 4.5 terabytes. So, something like that is a very useful thing to have, especially for big projects.
And especially, Wally, I don't know, are you shooting in 4K?
No, I didn't. That wasn't even 4K.
Yeah, that wasn't. Wow.
If I had shot in 4K, I would have filled up the entire drive.
Yeah. Yeah.
No,
The one thing that's happening is none of us are needing less storage space. There's just no question about it. So if you're not shoving something up to the cloud, which is a great way to do it, but it's not fast and it's not convenient, you pick up one of these, and yeah, you'll be able to keep things. You'll be able to store a lot of stuff.
Yeah, and I mean, if you've got it, if you're shooting, even if you're shooting on an iPhone 13, if you're using ProRes, right, you're eating up gigabytes every minute, of storage. So, if you're shooting in a pro format at a high resolution, that's a lot of pixels, So you need the storage. That's not the only reason you need that much storage too. But that's a heck of a good price, Chuck. And is that a USB 3.1 connector on it?
3.0.
3.0.
Okay.
3.0. So again, it's not necessarily meant as a performance drive. It's meant as a mass storage device. But
it's a good archival system.
Yeah, I don't know that honestly, I haven't tried it. I'm not sure I would want to try to boot my system off of it. I'd rather have an SSD for that. But for mass storage, yeah. Okay, so it takes a few minutes to copy, 4 or 5 terabytes over. Big deal. So, yeah. So go forth and stimulate the economy, gentlemen.
And where did you spot that one, Chuck?
That's on the Jeff Bezos store.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
Good.
So, just as a reminder to all our friends out there, excuse me, all the picks that our panelists have picked will be in the show notes along with links so that you can go right to the one that they picked. And also we're publishing an analog list of them on the MacVoices website. The link, pardon me, the link will be there too. And we're also doing our annual holiday gift guide Flipboard magazine as well. So if you have an iPad, you can just flip through and enjoy looking at the pictures and then tap on one and buy for your loved ones or buy for yourself. There you go. So guys, before we get out of here, I want to make sure folks know where they can find you when you're not here doing that annual holiday gift guide. Peter, I know you have, I think, a new gig since we talked last.
Yes, I'm technology editor at rcrwireless.com now. So you could find my scribblings there. And, of course, I'm always posting to Twitter on my own account at Flarg, Flargh.
Great. Good to see you, Peter. Thanks so much for coming.
Oh, thanks for having me. This is always a blast. And happy holidays, everybody.
Happy holidays to you as well. Jim, as if we didn't know where to find you, you want to tell folks where they can connect with you?
Absolutely not.
Okay, moving on.
You can find me at proview.com and also on Twitter at ProviewJim.
Great. I made him take down his Grinch picture, folks, so that's why he's got a green screen. Wally, how about you? Where can folks find you?
They can migrate over to my YouTube channel. Just look up my name, Wally Cherwinski, and it'll come up. You can see some of my videos I've done in the past with Macworld All-Star Band and Macworld's Past, a bit of nostalgia there. And if you read Screencasts Online Monthly Magazine, I have a column in there every month as well.
Excellent. Thanks, Wally.
Yeah.
So happy holidays to everyone.
Yeah, Mele Kalikimaka.
Yeah. I hope everyone has a great one and a safe one. And I'm sure I'll be talking to all of you beforehand, but at the very least, we'll see you back here next year to do it again. So
excellent.
Nice.
Yeah, folks, I'm Chuck Joyner. This is Mac Voices. We will be doing more holiday gift guides. Stay tuned. You never know what the panelists are going to come up with. Until the next time, and as always, thanks for watching. Visit MacVoices.com for show notes and to connect with Chuck on social media. Get involved in our Facebook group or like our Facebook page, and get more out of your Apple tech with Mac Voices Magazine, free on Flipboard and on the web. And if you find value in it all, consider supporting us through either our Patreon campaign at patreon.com/MacVoices or by making a one-time donation via the PayPal link on our front page and in the show notes of each episode. You will join these fine people who help bring you Mac Voices. Advertising handled by Backbeat Media at backbeatmedia.com. Bandwidth provided by CacheFly at cachefly.com.